Duane, is there in some circles we hear about favorable planetary hours for carrying out certain activities. Does the new song, doing the new song, does it conform to any kind of planetary hours that are favorable, unfavorable for carrying out this activity?
You mean like Mars or Venus?
Yes, then.
Okay, what is your favorite planet?
Favorite planet?
The red planet? Okay, all right. Everybody's got a favorite. Well, if you were there, you may not think so, but okay, from the Earth point of view, etc. But again, things are what they are, just like the clothes you wear. The new you is simply, the best definition is the real connection to the sound light reality, which is, the isness itself, whatever the isness is. And so people can consider whatever they want, but this is where eventually the ritualism sets in. Look at the corporation. You were in the corporation. I was there since the 70s. I saw what Paul presented, how simple it was and how things were. Going through the process of Darwin and Harold and Joni and all this stuff. And it's part of the adventure. It's all okay. It really is 100% fine. But look at how all the funny stuff has been added to where it's just gobbledygook. You see, so again, the isness is what it is. And what we decide with our lives, whether it's liking the planets or whatever it is, that's fine. That's a personal choice. Just like what you had for breakfast. That's in life. It's part of life. But in a way, it's not has nothing to do with the isness life is. It really doesn't. It's just like the land you stand on really has nothing to do with the air you breathe. You see? It's all part of it, but then again, it's not. See? So no matter what you do on the land, it has nothing to do with the air you breathe. Even though it seems like it's all together, the air, the ocean, whatever. Each position, the land, the water, the air, etc., it has nothing to do with each other, but yet they're all together, you see? So we have creation here that's together with the isness, but at the same time has nothing to do with it, realistically. Because when you stand in the isness, you don't need creation. See? So these aspects, we can talk about the planets. We can say, oh, I like to go to Mars. It's fun, and Mars is this or that, or the terrain is there, or they're having a hurricane today, or whatever. That's fun. You talk about Mars. But when you start saying that Mars is part of the isness, or the real guides, like Mars better than they like Venus or Earth, then it starts to get a little funny. It just depends. I mean, that could be a good story, but so something like that. So again, when you have the planets, you have astrology and things like this. Well, these are ideas about conditions that have been created in creation. That becomes the difference. These are conditions and ideas and assumptions and cause and effect, wherein the isness, there is not, that does not exist. The isness seems smaller than creation, but it's everything to where creation is actually nothing. You see, it's just how you view it. Go ahead.
Okay. Uh, the, I just read some story about about some about a wedding that took place in a part of Nigeria where a rich man was to get married, uh, and he paid for everything, paid for the hall, paid for drinks from big companies. In fact, he did everything. And when they consulted a medicine man, he asked that they should pay for the weather too. That paid for everything except the weather. And he was dismissed offhand, and well, he had to just go his own way. And then on the day of the wedding, everything was going fine. People were feasting, and then suddenly, let's say the equivalent of Hurricane Harry, or or a quarter of it hit the wedding place, the wedding ground, and destroyed everything. When the guy who was getting married, the winds tore apart the roof, carried it and dumped it very far from them. People hobbled in fear and dispersed in very frightful manner. Then you realize that this man has said the weather should be, they should buy the weather too, as if he controlled the weather. And after this disaster, the rich man remembered that he had been told to buy the weather too, so they connived with the police. Everyone was afraid, but they connived with some brave policemen and caught him, and said they will imprison him. But his judgment, nobody was courageous enough to judge him. Now we find that this man controlled the elements to the extent that he could deny certain activities from taking place. So what I want to ask is, what I want to say is that this depicts a little part of what you hear in Africa, which is witchcraft. I don't know whether to call it witchcraft or the man was actually very elevated in quotes. Now, what I want to ask is, does the Numan control the elements too?
No. You can decide things like anything else, like putting on a rain jacket when it rains. Sometimes, there are situations that are going to occur, and you can decide not to be a part of them, but no, that's manipulating the forces. So I was going to ask, as you started this off, I like this story. It's very interesting, and this wasn't a wedding on Mars, was it?
No, a wedding in Nigeria.
Nigeria, okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure. All right. I thought you said Nigeria, yes. I was listening. Yes, I'm just kidding. And so I like that idea, buy the weather too. And, what was it during, it was on the weekend of the X seminar, I don't know, one that took place in Nigeria, which was about, when was the X seminar? About 5-6 months ago. There was one in Nigeria or somewhere in Africa, and about 100 miles away There was a roof that blew off a church. I saw that. Did you see that in the news? There was a big wind and a roof blew off a church about 100 miles away, and it was on the weekend of the X seminar that was in Africa. I remember that. Ava remembers that. You remember that, Ava? Or you don't?
Yes. Mm.
Yeah, we talked about that, and I thought it was kind of funny. It was on the weekend of the X seminar, and about 100 miles away, yeah, at a church. I don't know if it was a wedding or not, but when you started talking about this and everything was kind of demolished, whatever, you get what you don't pay for, right, Charles? What can I say? But no, we don't do these things, Charles. It's an isness, okay? So uh, it can be to where, yes, certain things can be offset, but for the most part, you see, you, you really have to take a closer look now at creation as opposed to the ideas of a so-called spiritual path. And there's a difference. So everyone is making decisions, and the world becomes what it is. And it's just like me with my business deals, as opposed to, what I'm doing here with the new presentation. Those are things I'm doing, whatever, and I have to deal with the world as it is. I creatively bring myself into these things and decide, and then the boys help me, position myself. It's like a chess game, is what it is. It could be like where I'm playing chess and Rebazar is whispering, "Oh yeah, move your rook over there to, space 6 or whatever." He's seeing things bigger than I am, and so he's helped me along there and give me little hints. But at the same time, I'm dealing with the world as it is. So when it comes to especially these things, this is where Jesus got himself in trouble. This is what people don't realize. When he did all his little tricks and magic, he was manipulating situations. And he wanted to be the star of the show like Harry, but he got himself into trouble, you see? So it became more so that even though what he said, these so-called great things that he said or implied, the magic show that he created became more important, you see? And so you're seeing the evidence of it today. And that is, what are people waiting for? You see, they're creating everything they can in life, and they're believing in Jesus, which means what? Really means zero. Because it's like waiting at the bus stop and saying, well, I'm waiting for Jesus. Okay, and I'm waiting here at the bus stop. He's going to bring the bus and he's going to come and get me. Well, that sounds cute, but is he really going to do that? Is he going to go pick up everybody and take them where and do what with them? What the heck are you going to do there? Just hang around with Jesus and do what? Okay, so it's kind of like when Moses parted the Red Sea and everybody got to the other side. It's like, whoa, that was a heck of a journey, and that was scary, Moses. We went through that. Now what the heck do we do? Okay, well, we walked through the desert for 40 years. How does that sound? It's a heck of a hike. So again, it's not recognizing the is. So when we have these things, no, Charles, again, you see the results. The guy pays for all this stuff, whatever, whether it's a true story or not, it doesn't matter. I'm sure it's happened. The end result is scary stuff. It's really scary stuff. And no, this is why the boys, they may do certain things, but again, people look for these ideas, and you know what? The isness is better than any created phenomena. But they may help certain individuals avoid things. And it's not that, just like Hurricane Harvey, it's not that the boys are going to come in and stop that. Because people actually, these hurricanes and all this weather and everything, this is a combination of the consciousness here that has been created. And everybody needs to, you might say, learn their lessons. And it's a wake-up call for many. So they're not going to disturb that. But they may give hints to certain individuals that are aware and open, and suggest that, hey, get in your car and drive 50 miles away so you can get out of the way of the storm. but it's not a matter of manipulating the storm, because these are things decided. And that would be if, a lot of people have their money in the stock market, and all of a sudden the stock market is going down. The boys are not going to come in and change the stock market and have it go back up so everybody can save their money. They're not going to do that, because then they have to deal with what they've decided. You might say they're responsible for that, but they will make suggestions to those individuals that are in the market. It's the same thing. So it's learning to see what's really going on. These spiritual paths, religion, politics, and the scientific, communities that are here on the world and doing all the funny stuff. People have gotten so mixed up, and these are a type of ritualism. It's really what they are. When they build a rocket ship, as an example, and everybody goes out there and stands and watches, they just want to see it take off, and you hear the countdown, 10, 9, 8. This is a ritualism. It's like, oh, I can't wait to see this. And just like 4th of July, these are all created ritualisms, and people don't see this. And so this is the mind frame of things. And when it comes to manipulating the weather and stuff like that, no, they won't do that unless there's really a real purpose behind it. But because that phenomena will interfere with others, it's done on an individual basis according to the individual's, their awareness. But when it comes to that, that's even something decided. We had some Skypes here where there was a certain person, and this person wanted the so-called powers of Rebazar. And Rebazar told this person, well, you're really not ready for it yet. This is where the person becomes self-destructive. They don't understand how creation works. I personally don't look to any of these things. I personally don't look to the phenomena of any of it, because I've been through it, and I've learned that no, all there is the isness. So your story is cool. Buying the weather, it just depends upon the consciousness. There's a difference between consciousness and the individual's real awareness. So in certain situations, yes, just like this one here, this story, whether it happened or not, it's not about true or false. Whether it happened or not, it doesn't even matter, because it's already happened. Just by the very fact that you've stated it, it's already happened. So, maybe he should have bought some weather insurance, and or talk to somebody about the weather. Yeah, but that's a personal decision. You see, that's a personal decision. And so again, I would say something like this: if two people are going to get married, and maybe there's going to be a condition there, the boys might suggest and give hints. Look, why don't you move the wedding 10 miles away to where there isn't the earthquake or the hurricane or something like that, or have it on another weekend, and this weekend just go in your bomb shelter and be safe. Whatever, it just depends, because things are coming. But they're not going to just stop what has been decided, because people need to learn to see their own effects. And when we're seeing like Hurricane Harvey, what people still don't realize, most of the public, is that they've created this. They've helped create this. And plus the scientific community, they probably have heart behind it also, pushing it. You see, they've created it. See, everybody has to face their creations. So why is it that, how can the lessons be so? That's like a teacher doing the homework for the student. They're not going to do that. Even though the homework's tough and hard, the student has to face doing their own homework so they can wake up. But again, I like the story. That's a good story. And, sometimes you may have to hire a voodoo guy to do certain things. Yeah. Yes, thank you for sharing. That's a good story.